You ever scroll through your feed and find one of those psychology videos that feels like it just knows you? Like it knows you better than you know yourself? Well, that's not an accident. It's a formula. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and deconstruct the exact blueprint they use to make viral content that feels less like psychology and more like mind reading.
Okay, so it all starts with a title. A title exactly like this one. This isn't just catchy. You could call it a viral magnet. Just look at the language. See right through you. A curse and a gift. It's designed to immediately grab anyone who's ever felt a little different or misunderstood, and it promises to turn what they feel is a weakness into a kind of superpower.
So, what is it about an idea like this that makes it so sticky, so powerful? How does it tap into our own psychology so well that it just has to be shared? Well, that is the big question, and that's exactly what we're here to unpack. We're going to break this whole strategy down piece by piece.
All right, first things first, and this is maybe the most critical part of the whole blueprint. It's not made for everybody. No, it is laser focused on a very specific type of person, a psychological profile the source material calls the truth seeker.
So who is this person? Well, you might know one. It's the person who prides themselves on spotting the BS that everyone else misses. They see themselves as a human lie detector. So for this viewer, content that reinforces that identity, it isn't just entertainment, it's validation. It's confirmation that their entire worldview is correct.
And that leads us right to the absolute core of the formula. And this is where it gets really brilliant. The whole strategy isn't about teaching you something new, it's about validation. It works by finding these really common insecurities we all have and just masterfully reframing them as rare, powerful strengths.
For example, take cynicism. Have you ever been told you're just a little too negative, a little too jaded? Well, this formula flips that completely on its head. It tells you, no, you're not cynical, you just have a high awareness of behavior. You're just better and faster at spotting when people are being fake.
Or, how about this one? Overthinking conversations, replaying them in your head again and again. The blueprint has a name for that. Rejection sensitivity. It argues that your brain isn't just being anxious, it's been trained, like a survival mechanism, to pick up on the tiniest social cues, a weird pause, a change in tone. It basically recasts that anxiety as a kind of finely tuned expertise.
And this same idea applies to bigger beliefs too. That deep mistrust of authority figures or systems, that's not framed as you being rebellious or negative. Nope. It's presented as a totally logical evolution toward inward trust. Of course you trust yourself more. You've seen all these external systems fail time and again.
Do you ever feel completely out of step with whatever's trending? Well, the blueprint has a reframe for that too. It's called immunity to hype. See, it argues your sense of what's valuable comes from your own internal preference, not from social pressure. What might feel like you're an outsider is actually proof that you're an independent thinker.
And finally, even something as tough as leaving a toxic job or relationship gets reframed. It becomes detachment as evolution. It's positioned not as giving up or failing, but as a sign of true emotional maturity. It's proof that you've evolved past needing someone else's approval. You see, it's not quitting, it's growth. Okay, so we've got the who, the truth seeker, and we've got the what, all those validation messages. But what about the how? How are these ideas actually packaged to hit with maximum impact? Well, the delivery is just as calculated as the content, and it follows a really precise 4-part script.
Here they are, the 4 stages: the hook, the validation, the authority statement, and the brand closer. Each one is designed to build on the last one, to systematically pull the viewer in and create this really strong feeling of personal connection. Let's look at the exact words they use.
So right out of the gate, the script hooks the truth seeker directly. It validates that core part of their identity. It takes a potential trust issue and immediately reframes it as a sophisticated strength, a highly evolved curiosity system. Next up, the validation hits. The script anticipates that you might worry about being judgmental, and it just swoops in and replaces that fear with this intelligent-sounding idea of pragmatic realism. And just like that, the viewer feels seen, they feel understood, and honestly, they feel pretty clever. And then comes the layer of authority. They start using these clinical-sounding terms, right? Mental efficiency. It sounds so official. It makes the validation feel less like just a nice compliment and more like a legitimate psychological insight. And the script closes by turning that feeling of connection into a community. The call to action isn't just, hey, please subscribe. It's an invitation to join a special group, a tribe, that rejects fake motivation. It perfectly reinforces that truth seeker identity. It makes them feel like they finally found their people. Which brings us to the engine that's driving this entire operation. Because this whole complex system of validation and scripting, it isn't just for likes and comments. No, it is meticulously engineered for one primary purpose: monetization. It's a business model that's just wearing the costume of a psychology lesson.
The immediate goal is all about hitting the key metrics. On a platform like YouTube, that means getting to 4,000 watch hours. That's the magic number you need to get monetized. And pretty much every single piece of this blueprint is optimized to get to that number as fast as humanly possible.
This whole thing is achieved through three main strategies. First, they use keywords that attract high-paying advertisers, words like emotional intelligence. Second, they make the content super shareable by giving viewers a flattering label for themselves, their silent strength. And third, they create what the source calls a pattern effect. The moment a viewer feels truly seen, they don't just watch one video, they binge the entire back catalog. And that's when the watch hours just explode.
So here's the big takeaway. This isn't really about a single viral video. It's a powerful blueprint for manufacturing personal connection at a massive scale. So the next time a piece of content pops up on your feed and feels like it's reading your mind, you can ask yourself, is this genuine insight, or am I just watching a perfectly executed script?